Hi, and welcome to Healthcare IT Today. I'm Colin Hung, and today I'm very excited to be sitting down with Duke to talk about this wonderful smoking cessation program that they're running there and some of the amazing results that they received. Joining me today on the program is Jillian Dirkes, Program Manager at for the Duke Smoking Cessation Program, which is part of the Duke Cancer Institute. Jillian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Like I said off the top, I am super excited to be talking to you because when I learned about your program and some of the results you're able to achieve, I couldn't wait to talk to you and learn more about your secrets, frankly. But maybe we can start with a simple question. Can you describe for our audience your smoking cessation program, just in general? What is it and how does it work?
Yeah, our program is it's just a few years old, and we're really excited about this new model that we started here at Duke. And what we have done is really moved away from an older model where oftentimes patients would meet briefly with their primary care physician, maybe for a few minutes as part of their annual physical, get some advice, maybe a nicotine patch, and then check back in next year to see how things went. What we have started with this program is something a lot more intensive and a lot more individualized to a patient. So we have medical providers who meet with patients and prescribe really individualized intensive pharmacotherapy regimens. And we also have behavioral health providers who work with patients around the behavioral and mental health side of tobacco use. And we continue to follow up with patients over a very long time. So we continue to check in with them and make sure that whatever plan we've come up with is working, and we make adjustments and tweaks all along the way.
So it sounds like this program it's individualized, and is it individualized to the point where people are just flowing through the program sort of at their own pace, or is it sort of more cohorted where they kind
Yeah.
of go through as a group?
Yeah, it really is at each patient's pace. And that means we see patients at all stages. We see patients who are not ready to quit, but maybe they want to cut down a little bit or they want to just learn what their options are. So we work with folks who are in that place. We work with people who are getting ready to quit or who maybe need to quit for a medical reason, like an upcoming surgery. And we also work with people after they've quit. So they've been off tobacco, but they find they're really struggling and they need some additional support. So we work with people at any stage of the process, and really at their pace, like you were saying.
And just remind me again, do people sign up or become part of the program through the primary care that Duke is providing, or is there other ways that
Yeah.
people can join the program?
Um, yeah, a lot of people are referred by their primary care provider or other specialty care they're getting, and that can be from a Duke provider or somewhere else. We also have people who identify, this is something I want, and I've heard that Duke offers it, and so I want to sign up myself, and they can do it that way. Uh, but really, we work with, like I said, anyone who's interested in joining up.
And if you know, when you designed the program and when the program came about, what was there one a main sort of sticking point from the old style of smoking cessation programs that Duke said, you know what, we really want to get rid of that?
Yeah. Um, I think the thing we really wanted to move away from is sort of piling more onto primary care physicians. I think you probably hear about this a lot, but primary care physicians, they have to manage so many different things, that by the time you get down the list of the 15 things we're managing in this visit today, tobacco is, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And is that really enough to change an addiction that maybe somebody's had for 30 years? Probably not. So I think that's something we were really excited to leave behind.
So let's talk about some of the success that you've seen with the program. What is the success rate, and what feedback have you gotten from people who have gone through it?
Yeah. And, when we think about success for smoking, it's always helpful to put this in context. So if somebody tries on their own, they say, I'm going to do this myself, no help at all, their chances of being quit 6 months from today is about 3 to 4%. They have very low chance, even if they pick up a nicotine patch or try something else. They just, uh, they they're not set up for success.
Right.
If they work with their primary care provider, that helps, and I, don't want to say it doesn't. It moves the needle up to about 10% chance that they'll be quit in 6 months, which is great. And our program is about 10 times what somebody trying on their own is. So we are around
Wow.
30 to 35%. Um, and we are really excited about that. So we're seeing people who are quitting, who have not been able to quit before, and seeing some really long-term success. One of the things that we're hearing from patients is that many of the folks who we're seeing are people who have tried a lot of times to quit, that they feel like they've tried everything, nothing's going to work for them. And, I'm even thinking about one person who I spoke with not that long ago who was telling me, if I don't quit, I know I'm going to die, and I still don't know what my chance, I still don't know that I can do it. So knowing that she had that backup and she was able to quit, knowing that she had our support, she was able to do it.
That's amazing. I mean, 30+% success,
Mhm.
where someone is still quit after 6 months of being in the program. That is just incredible. And they started from different points, meaning some people
Right.
had never even tried or tried many times, and then also people who maybe were already on their way to quitting
Mhm.
and just needed that little help. So that is incredible that you're getting that success rate.
Yeah.
What do you attribute mostly to that success? Is it the tailored, the customized approach? Is it some technology? Is it the behavioral health side of things that you're bringing to the
Mhm.
program? Why the success?
Yeah, I think the success comes from a couple of things, but it really is that we keep the patients at the center of what we do. And that's why we have the behavioral health, it's why we have the medical, because most patients need some combination of that. And
Mm,
so we really work with that patient to say, what specifically medically do you need? From a behavioral standpoint, what do you need? And how can we tailor something that's going to work specifically for you? And so not only does that make the plan more successful for that individual patient, but it also, I think, helps the patient feel more bought in, that that's more of a comfortable place to be, to have a little bit of success and then maybe slip back a little bit, that they feel connected to the program and they feel connected to the providers they're working with.
Now, since we are a health IT publication, I
Mhm.
have to ask, were there any specific technologies that you are using as part of this program? Any sort of engagement platforms or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That I think has been one of the biggest problems with tobacco use treatment programs. There are great treatments out there, but one of the biggest things that people run into is recruitment.
Mm,
It is really hard to get a patient in the door, because those patients who say, "I'm ready to quit and I'm going to look up all my options," those patients are few and far between. Mostly people are coming because they've been prompted,
mm.
um, either by their provider or something else. And so we've really leveraged technology to help us with that particular issue. We do a couple of things. So from the just primary care and other specialty care providers, we've worked to make making a referral very easy. So we give providers a best practice alert. So they get it's a little gold bar that lights up for them to say, remember, you need to do something about this patient. This patient's using tobacco. You should refer them, or it gives them an option to treat them themselves. But the easiest option is pre-checked, refer to smoking cessation.
Gotcha.
So that's one end. The other one is something we started in the last year where we are proactively reaching out to patients to invite them to participate in the program. And we do this through our patient portal, as well as we actually just started a couple of weeks ago calling them by phone as well.
Okay. And this prompt, that this gold bar thing that you described, is that something that's in the EHR, or is that
Mhm.
is that where they see it and therefore they know, oh, like this patient, I should probably talk to them about smoking
Yeah,
cessation? Is that how it works? Okay.
yeah, it is.
And the outreach that you're doing, is it manual outreach that through when you say you call them, is it,
Mhm.
or is it automated?
It's automated.
Okay.
It's an automated call.
Interesting. So based on, and is that based on the data from the EHR that they've
It is.
self-identified as, hey, I'd like to try to reduce my smoking or something like
It
that? And
they actually don't even have to say I'm interested in reducing.
okay.
It's based on at their last visit whether they reported using tobacco, and if they have a visit coming up in the next 2 weeks. So they're coming to Duke in 2 weeks, and they get either, like I mentioned, a patient portal message or a telephone call saying, "This is what the service is. Are you interested in that?"
And then they presumably they just respond, and then that they're
Mhm.
automatically sort of enrolled into this program, and their
Yeah.
provider will then talk to them about it next time they're in.
Well, so if they do respond, so if they say, yes, I'm interested, by phone, it transfers them directly to our scheduling center, who will talk to
Okay.
the patient about it. And then by the patient portal, that'll be how it sends a message to our team to follow up with this patient.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's you're doing proactive outreach, and this is yielding. You're saying this solves that big problem of recruitment.
It does, yeah.
And so, what was your recruitment like before compared to what it is now in terms of using these approaches?
Mhm. Yeah, so before, and we had a really steady stream of providers who were referring. So we started using that best practice advisory in the EHR from day one.
Mhm.
And we had gotten to about 200 to 250 referrals each month from providers, which is great. And now we've just shy of doubled that now that we've
Wow.
started implementing these proactive outreaches. So we're, getting about 400, 450 requests from providers and patients to engage in the service each month.
That's amazing. Just by simply being that polite nudge and more
Yes.
proactive, you're able to almost double your recruitment.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And what has the reaction been to? Because I'm assuming if people are listening to this, they may be a little bit afraid. Like, do people, aren't they going to feel like, is this like Big Brother-ish? How come it's
Yeah.
emailing me or texting me or calling
Sure.
me? Was that a concern, or has that turned out to be a problem?
It's not as much of a problem as I think maybe we anticipated.
Okay.
I think as a team, we did wonder, are we going to see a really negative backlash? Are patients going to say, don't ever do this again? Um, and, I think even for the people we talk to who say, this isn't for me, I'm not interested in this. It's still generally they appreciate having the information. That this is knowledge that they now have in their hands that they can choose to do something with or not. And I also say our approach is a very light touch one. When we talk to these patients, it's we're reaching out. We're just offering you, we want to let you know the service is available. And if you're not interested, that's okay and your choice.
Right. So sort of a no pressure, no judgment kind of outreach.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Which I'm assuming is very, very key to recruiting somebody.
Absolutely.
um, so you know the it seems like part of like referrals is still a way you get people coming into the program. Was there any sort of training that you had to provide or change for your referring physicians when you implemented this new program?
Yeah, we were regularly, and we still do this. We go to different practices internally at Duke to let them know this is the program. Many of them are familiar with it now, but when we first started, absolutely, we would just about every week be in front of a new practice, telling them this is who we are. Here's what we do. Here's what your patients can expect, and here's what you as the provider can expect from us. And as an sort of interesting thing, we noticed that actually our patients became some of our best educators. That they would go, let's say they're a specialty care provider referred them, they saw us, they really loved the service. They would meet with their primary care physician and say, "Oh yeah, I quit smoking, and it was this program at Duke." And then the primary care provider would then know about the service. So we really found that our patients were doing a lot of the education for us.
It's a great word. Nothing is a better word of mouth than someone who's successfully gone through
Yes.
that program. That's
Yes.
that's awesome. So, what advice do you have, Jillian, for other organizations or other program managers who are looking after their smoking cessation programs and looking to have ways to either improve recruitment or just improve their program? what would you tell them?
Um, I I think from a recruitment standpoint, I think some of the best advice, and this was advice that was given to me, is to not focus, to think about patient recruitment as a funnel. So there's the top of the funnel, which is everybody coming in, every contact that you make. And then there's the middle of the funnel. So you schedule someone and maybe you lose them along the way. They no show or they cancel their appointments or that that those sorts of things are really part of the addiction process. And you're not going to change the fact that somebody decides not to quit smoking. You can do a lot to keep them in the program from a provider standpoint, but that trying to focus too hard on that can be wasted energy. Instead, focus on just getting more folks in the door because you will, I mean, we do lose people, and that's part of it. And often we find those people come back in 6 months or a year when things are different for them.
Right. That's very, I mean, as a marketer, you're speaking right to me because you're
Yeah.
talking about a marketing approach to
Okay.
recruiting, which, you know, it makes a lot of sense, right? Where you
Hmm.
can, you put people in the top of the funnel with some very good information, and then you can market differently with different messages as you kind of work people, or as people kind of self-identify that there are different stages of of getting ready to join a program like yours. Um, that's amazing. It warms my heart to hear the marketing side. Now I have to ask this because we're still in the middle of COVID. Has the pandemic affected the cessation program at all? Have you seen sort of like a decline or an increase or anything like that?
We've seen a really drastic increase,
Increase. Wow.
a
Okay.
significant increase, in part because we've been starting some of this proactive outreach, and also largely in part because of telehealth.
Mm,
Payer before the pandemic, and telehealth to a patient's home was not reimbursed by third-party payers. So it wasn't something we were doing. And last March, when that did become reimbursable, we actually transitioned to a 100% virtual care model. And since I think a year ago tomorrow, we haven't offered an in-person visit. Um, and it has been very well received by our patients, especially somewhere like Duke, where many of our patients don't live locally. They're coming here for specialty care. We're able to see them from their home. They don't have to make a bunch of trips here. So patients are um, coming to visits more often. They're having more visits, so our
mhm.
average number of visits per patient is going up. So we've seen a really big increase from that.
That is amazing. That A, partly because of the proactive outreach you're saying, but just that you've seen a program increase its
Mhm.
usage during the pandemic, because we're hearing a lot of times how the opposite is happening. Everyone's
Right,
leaving programs or not participating. And the fact that it sounds like telehealth actually is being very, very helpful for people who are in the program because they don't have to travel. Because I'm assuming that's another barrier. If you have to get in your car and travel even 30 or 30 minutes
right,
to get an appointment, that's another reason, another excuse or another reason why I might not stick with the program.
right.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, is there any, if someone's listening to this, Jillian, is there any one thing that you would like for them to take away from our discussion today?
Um, yeah, I think the probably best thing to take away is the importance of keeping, especially this type of work, patient-centered. That focusing on what does this patient need right now, not waiting for them to be ready, but really saying, what do you need and how can I offer you that right? How can I give you that right now? I think that's something I think our program really tries to do, and that I would hope people really look to do as part of tobacco cessation.
Well, Jillian, thank you so much for being on our program today. You've provided a lot of amazing information. I am still blown away by the results that you're receiving. Good for you. Now, before we go, where can people go to find out more information about your cessation program?
Oh yeah, they can find us online at dukehealth.org/quit, or they can also call us at 919-613-QUIT.
Awesome. Jillian, thank you so much for your time today. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed our conversation.
thank you.
This has been Colin Hung at Healthcare IT Today. Thanks for listening.